What up and welcome back to the channel. I'm Rome Bone. We're back with yet another tier list, this time inspired by the Psychopathic Records tier list that we did. We're going to be doing the Magic Ninja Entertainment tier list. Whole shitload of albums. I tried including every release that they have put out through the label. I know I missed a bunch with Psychopathic, but hey, is what it is. Hit that like, subscribe, bell notification. We got a ton of albums to run through, so we're not going to waste any more time. Let's get right into it. And yeah, like I said, we got like 60 something albums, as you can see right there. We got a ton. I added a new tier under D for Never Heard, because as I was putting this list together, I realized that I haven't heard a bunch of these albums that M&E has put out. Now, this has no Twisted albums. If you want the Twisted tier list, I got it linked in the description below. Go peep that. If you want to do this tier list, as usual, I'll have this linked in the description as well. Let's go. We got Gang Rags Reborn from Blaze. I think this is what, the fourth and final version of Gang Rags that we got. We're going to put that C tier. My least favorite Gang Rags was the one that he put out on Psychopathic. The Reborn was the extended and uncut version remixed. It's okay. From time to time, every once in a while, I'll revisit it. It's an okay album, but it's just like a rehash of shit we heard before. Casket Factory from Blaze. I'm also going to put this C tier, but I'm going to put it above Gang Rags Reborn. There's some bangers on there, man. The track with Kung Fu Vampire, the one with ROC and Lex the Hexmaster, some bangers. There's some other bangers on the album as well, but overall, I think Casket Factory is a C tier album. And then we got Zodiac Imprint, Ride the Stars, the EP that they put out. There's two versions, blue cover and a green cover. I'm just going to go ahead and put both of them in D tier. Just not a memorable record from Blaze and ROC, unfortunately. After all those years of Zodiac Imprint hype, it just didn't live up to the hype. Young Wicked's Vengeance. I'm going to go ahead and put this in A tier. It's an EP. This was put out the same day that he was announced to sign, that he signed to M&E. This is what caused the whole fucking divide that we're in right now. Young Wicked signing to M&E, but it's a dope, what, 6 songs on here? I fucks with it, and I think it's an A tier. Not quite S tier. I think it's A tier, though, for sure. Every song on there fucking bangs. The one with Twisted is a fucking, they go nuts on that album, on that song rather. The ROC, the fucking Prelude EP, I'm also going to put this A tier. I'll put it below Vengeance. The fucking Prelude EP was the prelude to Digital Voodoo. A couple of the beats on this were used on Digital Voodoo, but completely different lyrics over them. I bang this. I love me some ROC. He very rarely disappoints. A tier for that. Lex the Hexmaster's Contact, his first album on M&E. I'm gonna put it B tier. It's like borderline C and B, but like half that album fucking bangs. My House with Chris Rivers and Billy Danes from MOP is a fucking banger. And there's other songs on there that are fucking dope. When he leans more towards that boom bap sound is like when he sounds best, in my opinion. But when he's trying to do that, like that Midwest wicked shit, not so much. But I think that's like a low B, border C, but I'll put it B because the songs I like on there, I really like. The Black Season EP from Lex, I'm going to put that B tier as well. I'll put it under Contact. There's some bangers on Black Season EP. Dope debut from Lex. And I don't think I skip any songs on that EP. It's what, 5, 6 songs, maybe 7 on that EP. I think that belongs in B tier. Gmo Ski, My Filthy Spirit Bomb. Man, my introduction to Gmo Ski was this album. I'm going to put that A tier. I fucks with My Filthy Spirit Bomb. Better Days with Inf Gang is a banger, man. That hook on there is so fire. But that album, front to back, banger. I fucks with Gmo, man. That dude brings it lyrically. His production choices as well, super dope. Love my My Filthy Spirit Bomb from Gmo. Prodigal Son from Young Wicked. We're going S tier on that, man. I think this is Young Wicked's best record. And Slaughter was an amazing album. I can't believe I forgot that one on the Psychopathic tier list. But as great as Slaughter was, I think Prodigal Son is just a little bit better and is definitely an S tier album. I played the fuck out of this album for a good solid 2 years, honestly, when it came out. And just front to back bangers on this fucking album, man. I don't skip one song. He produced the entire album. The song with Madrox and Ritz, Still I Rise, is so goddamn good. And the video for that shit is fire too. The collab with Mac Lethal. I'm not even a Mac Lethal fan, but that collab with Mac Lethal was fire. Just every fucking Monoxide has one of the best verses, if not the best verse he ever spit on this album. Like, love me Prodigal Son. It might be my favorite M&E album. I don't know. We'll find out as we go through this entire list, but it's up there. It's a fucking banger of an album. Definitely S tier. No questions asked. Year of the Sword. I guess this is a compilation album that the M&E artists put together at that time. This album was a fucking banger. I'm going to put this A tier. I'll put it above Spirit Bomb. I fucking love this album, man. There's so many dope songs on there. My favorite probably being the one with Young Wicked and Madrox. That collab that they have on that album is so fucking fire. Year of the Sword, great compilation showing off all the artists on M&E at that time. Definitely A tier. Bump the shit out of that. Triple Threat, another album that took years of like hype and anticipation for it to come out, only to be a disappointment. We'll put that in D tier. ROC Digital Voodoo, S tier, right off rip. I don't give a fuck. My favorite ROC album, followed by Oh Hell No. Digital Voodoo took what? Damn near 10 years to come out, something like that. A long ass time from the first time it was originally talked about, and it did not disappoint. The mix, not the greatest mix on that album, but the song quality on there overrides the lackluster mix of that record, and ROC absolutely kills it. He lived up to his name, Raps on Contact, fucking killed it, man. I love Digital Voodoo. If you haven't peeped it and you're not an ROC fan, maybe that album will convert you, because it's a fucking... Dude, Clouds Black Out the Sun is like one of my all-time favorite ROC songs. Love that shit. Lex the Hexmaster, Beyond Redemption. I'm going to put that D tier. I was hoping for a much better follow-up to Contact, and we just didn't get it with Beyond Redemption. I really don't remember much about this album, even though I did revisit it a few months ago. It's just not memorable. Lars, Last American Rock Stars, Bizarre and King Gordy. Foul World, never heard it. Gorilla Voltage, Apex. Apex, I'm putting B tier. I'm putting high B tier for Apex. I don't think I skip any songs on there, but like compared to the rest of their discography, not my favorite from Gorilla Voltage, but like Gorilla Voltage never disappointed, even from Damn Dirty Apes to when they became Gorilla Voltage. bangers on this fucking album. I think they had this album done before they signed to M&E and just put it out through M&E after they signed. Boondocks the Murder, never heard. Underground Avengers, Anomaly 88. I'm going to put that B tier as well, and I'm going to put that below Apex, above Contact. My favorite UGA album, I talked about this before on, I forget what video I did. It was recently, though. My favorite UGA album is Dark Matter, but it's followed by this album right here. I slept on it at the time when it first came out, but after revisiting it, and it's a dope album. Definitely belongs in B tier. Last American Rock Stars, the album, never heard it, going in that category. Guerrilla Voltage, The Lost Tapes, I'm going to put that B tier as well. I think this was like all songs that they had recorded during the Apex sessions. And yeah, but it belongs in B tier. Like the songs on Lost Tapes are just as good as the songs on Apex. Like they could have put out damn near a double album if they really wanted to at that point. B tier for me. Love me some Guerrilla Voltage. Axe Murder Boys, Muerte. I'm going to put this A tier. I'm going to put it above Vengeance, but not quite above Spirit Bomb. AMB's Muerte is fucking fire. It's so far their last album that they've put out, last full length anyway. And hearing them from Blood In, Blood Out all the way to Muerte, their evolution, especially Young Wicked, is so dope to hear. And Young Wicked produced this entire album. That first song on that album is so fucking hard, man. So hard. Love me some Muerte from A&B. Gmo Ski, 8-Bit Filth. I'm going to be putting this A tier as well. I'm going to put it above UGA. Actually, I'm going to put it above Apex as well. 8-Bit Filth is dope. But like the B tier albums is like, I go back to them, but not as often as I go back to the A tier albums. And then the S tier albums are pretty much classics, right? Like they're just so fucking good. So B tier for 8-Bit Filth. Love the video game samples on 8-Bit Filth. Gmo fucking killed it. Love the cover of that shit too. Charlie and the Filth Factory. That's going A tier as well, but I'm going to put it above Vengeance, but behind Muerte. I don't like it as much as Spirit Bomb. I know a lot of people consider this to be his best album, but at least his albums on M&E, my Spirit Bomb takes it, man. It really does. I fucking love that album. But Charlie and the Filth Factory, dope concept album. Artwork on there is fire. The collab with Vinny Paz on there, even though it got the Joker on it, is a fucking dope song. So yeah. Turncoat Dirty. Dirty Days of Night, never heard. A la Zulu, the Almighty, S tier. S tier for the Almighty, man. This album did not disappoint when they dropped it. I got down with A la Zulu in between the Psycho and the first Necronomicon that they put out, and I was super hyped for this album, and it didn't disappoint. This is another album, much like Guerrilla Voltage's Apex. They had this album recorded before they signed. They signed and ended up putting it through M&E. Just Joe Black's verse on Parish, like to open the album, is like not only the illest way to open the album, but like one of the illest verses in the Wicked Shit history, in my personal opinion. I fucking love that shit. The production on this album is so fire. I'm really hoping they go back to this kind of style of sound for their future projects. But man, Zul's Almighty is a classic, and like it could be number one over Prodigal Son, but I don't know, man. I love Prodigal Son so fucking much, and same with Almighty. Like we could just call that a tie for first place on this fucking tier list. Like I love both those albums so much. The Riders album, controversial. The Riders album, and this included everybody at M&E, even dudes in the office were rapping on this shit. I liked it a lot when it first came out. I tried revisiting it recently when I got out on a little Riders kick, and honestly, not as dope as I remember when it first came out, but still not bad. Like, it's all Riders shit is dope. But I'm gonna put it C tier. I'll put it above Gang Rags Reborn, but not quite above Casket Factory. I fucks with it. If it comes on, I'm not mad at it by any means. Definitely not D tier though. Definitely not D tier. And it's dope hearing like Gmo, Zool, Young Wicked, all doing the Riders, type shit on this album. So yeah, C tier for the Riders album. The ROC Monsters Are Real. I'm going to put this high C tier. Another project that I liked a lot more when it first came out than I do now, but ROC, like I said, he never really disappoints. But it's just not an album that I go back to, or EP that I go back to that much from ROC. Lex the Hexmaster, Strictly for My Ninjas. I'm going to put this C tier. I'll put it above Gang Rags Reborn. My least revisited Lex the Hexmaster project that he's put out. Actually, that's not true. Beyond Redemption is my second least revisited project from Lex the Hexmaster. HOK's Post-Apocalyptic Word. I wasn't even sure to include this on the list. It was available as like a Record Store Day exclusive. I think it's up on streaming. I'm not quite sure. These songs were released on a couple different projects, but it's like kind of like an EP from HOK. The mix on it is and the songs are kind of Honestly, I'm going to put it D tier. I'm just going to put it D tier. I wasn't really a fan of it, unfortunately, but everything. Do I want to put it D tier? I'm going to put it low C tier. I'll put it below Gang Rags Reborn. Because ultimately, HOK never disappoints. But I don't revisit it that much. So it borders D and C, but C tier. Gorilla Voltage, Gods and Claws. Holy shit, another S tier album. Easily my favorite Gorilla Voltage project. I love this shit, man. Played it so much. One of my favorite albums. 2019, I believe it was. Do I like it better than... I think I do like it better than Digital Voodoo. That Gods and Claws, man. If you haven't heard that shit, Clockwork and Mr. Gray absolutely killed it on Gods and Claws. The production on there is fire. Seven produced the entire album on there. The collaborations on that album are fucking dope. Just every song on there is a fucking banger. Love it. Church of Zool from AXE. I'm going to put this A tier, and I'm going to put it high A tier. I don't think it's quite S tier. But I fucks with Church of Zool. Super dark record. The production on this album is very aggressive. The Zombie Aristocrats, who produced this EP, killed it on the production on there. To the Tomb of the Black Tongue is like ridiculous shit. A la Zulu's Church of Zool, A tier all day. Songs of Sam Hain 1, D tier. Boondocks, Liquors, Lies, and Legacy, never heard it. Red's album, Symphony, I forget what it's called, never heard it. Oh, the Horror, Halloween 365, D tier. Lex the Hexmaster, the Party Castle EP, Part 1. I'm going to put this C tier, and I'll put it above Riders. I'll put it above Riders. Lex the Hexmaster, The Haunted Mansion. I'll put that one ahead of Party Castle. I liked Haunted Mansion better than Party Castle. Boondocks, Crimson Crow, never heard it. Blaze, Cadaver, D tier. A&B Fatality, the EP. This was a dope EP from A&B. I'm going to put this high B tier, and I'm going to put it above 8-Bit Filth. They killed it on here, and I hope we get some more A&B at some point in the future. I don't know what's up with those guys. They're so just inconsistent with releasing music. It's crazy, but when they do put out music, it's usually pretty quality, and Fatality was a dope project, so I'm going to put that B tier. Oh, the Horror, 1692. I'm putting this S tier, and I'm putting it. Fuck, do I put it above Gods and Claws? No, I don't. But I am putting it S tier. I will put it above Digital Voodoo too. I know. I just put Halloween 365 in D tier, but Oh the Horror 1692 is. I skipped 2 songs on that album, but the rest of the album is so fucking good. It's that emo shit. I love that emo shit from time to time. One of my favorite albums of 2020, maybe 2021. Man, I wish they were still putting music out. I really felt like they got in their stride with this project. They really found their sound. I did like the album they put out after that, and that was also a top album for me. But this album right here is like the best Oh the Horror shit. I love it. If you love emo, pop emo shit, definitely peep that album. It's so fucking good. A la Zulu's Mausoleum, D tier. Intrinsic. I can't remember the name of the album. It's like Laser Beams and fucking Dinosaurs or something like that. I forget. I'm going to put this C tier, and I'm going to put it above. I'll put it above Monsters Are Real. That's a top tier, top C. It kind of borders B tier, honestly. That's Intrinsic's best album. Do I put that B tier? It's a really good fucking album, man. I'll leave it C tier for now. I don't know. Intrinsic, his best album. It was put out through the subsidiary of M&E, but we're including those in the album, in this tier list as well. Gibby Stites, 13th Wonder, Never Heard. I was going to be a hater and put it in D tier, but I'll put it in Never Heard because I truly never heard it. East Side Ninjas. Oh, man, another album that could have been so good. D tier. A la Zulu, Necronomicon 2. Man, was really hoping for a dope follow-up for Mausoleum. D tier. Lex the Hexmaster, the Illusions, Halls of Illusions. I don't know if it's Halls of Illusions. I forget what it's called. But I'll put this right next to his 2 other EPs that are in C tier. Party Castle and Haunted Mansion. I think that's C tier. I think that's the correct spot for it on there. And I'm looking through the rest of the albums that I have to rank. I'm missing one of those EPs on this list. Of course I am. Always missing something. God damn it. You know, I try my best, man. James Garcia, Activated. Man, it took him long enough to put out some solo shit. Did it live up to the hype after Prodigal Son? D tier. Songs of Sam Hain 2. D tier. Songs of Sam Hain 3. I will put this C tier. I'll actually put this high C tier. Half that album, I don't rock with half that album, but the half that I do rock with is so fucking good, man. Like, some of those songs on there are just amazing. And then some of them are just so... Music is subjective. I don't like them. But man, the ones that I do like, I really do fucking like. Oh, the Horror meets Blaze. Man, we're putting that A tier. I kind of slept on this one when it first came out. And honestly, I'm going to put this right up there with A la Zulu's Church of Zul, man. Oh, the Horror. Like I said, they really found their stride with 1692. This wasn't a follow-up, but it was a collaboration with Blaze, and they both fucking killed it on this EP. Super dope, man. Peep it if you haven't peeped it. Boondocks, Crimson Blood. I think that's the name of it. I don't know. Never heard it. And I lied. I do have the 4th EP, The Cathedral of Chaos from Lex. I'm going to actually put that D tier with Beyond Redemption. I forgot about this one. Was not a fan of it, man. It just seemed like he stopped trying at that point for whatever reason. Maybe he was trying to get out of his deal with M&E. I don't know, but wasn't feeling it. Gmo Ski, 8-Bit Filth 2. I love 8-Bit Filth. 8-Bit Filth, the EP, the first one, B tier, but the second one just wasn't it for me. Just wasn't it. I'm going to throw that D tier. Blaze, Graveyard Greats 2. I didn't include Graveyard Greats 1 because it's a collection of songs that were previously released, whereas this one was mostly, if not all songs, unreleased. And while it was cool to hear, it didn't get much play. D tier. Songs of Samhain 4. D tier. Monoxide. Chainsmoker 2. This is probably the most recent album Eminem has dropped that's on this list. And honestly, this album, complete surprise. We're putting this A tier. I'm not going to put it above Digital Voodoo. I said A tier. I meant S tier. Or did I say S tier? Whatever. S tier. Fucking banger. Banger. Front to back. Not one song is a skip. Seven produced the entire album. Monoxide absolutely killed it. I had very little expectations for this album, if any at all, because of the music Twisted has been released in the last couple of years, but he absolutely killed it on this album, man. It couldn't disappoint because I was going into it disappointed, but it was a fucking banger. Young Wicked, the mixtape 2, D tier, just wasn't, I don't know, man. I don't know what Young Wicked's up to these days, man. He's not doing it for me. Gmo Ski, Stu Bangers, Filth City. Heat, pure fucking heat. And I'm going to put this A tier. I'll put it above Charlie, but not above Spirit Bomb. I love Spirit Bomb. And 8-Bit Filth 2 is just that grimy shit from Gmo. I do skip, I think, one song on this album, but all the other songs are so fire. Work Magic is a fucking banger. Go peep it. Go peep at least that one song, Work Magic from Gmo, off this album. Maybe it'll make you want to listen to the rest of the album. And Stu Bangers, man, just super grimy with the production. Love it. Lex the Hexmaster and the Unholy Trinity. This is my favorite project from Lex the Hexmaster. It's a 6-song EP, but it's a fucking banger. I'm going to put it top A tier. I don't think it's quite S tier. It borders it, though. It's up there. High A tier for that project. Easily my favorite Lex the Hexmaster project that he's put out. I love the production on there. That's the style of production I want to hear from Lex, but he fucking killed it on there, man. Just so fire. Blaze Your Dead Homies, Dead Vulture. This is a slept-on EP. Slept-on EP. This was released at the last gathering that they ever performed at and were invited to. Slept-on EP. I'm going to put this high B tier. I'll put it above Fatality and 8-Bit Filth and all that. Bangers on that album. Don't know who did the production on that album, but Blaze Your Dead Homies, Dead Vulture is his best solo project on M&E. I'll say that. Lex the Hexmaster, Mr. Ugly Part 2, fucking banger. A tier. I'll put it above I'll put it above Oh the Horror Meets Blaze. I love Mr. Ugly 2. Lex the Hexmaster on these mixtapes. We got Mr. Ugly Part 1 right there. I'll actually put it above Mr. Ugly 2. And then we got the Shadow King mixtape. I'm going to put that right all in the A tier. Those 3 mixtapes right there are just bangers. Bangers. Him rocking over other people's production for the most part on these mixtapes, as what mixtapes usually are. You know, bringing it back to like the early 2000s vibes with the, Jacket for Beats type shit. But man, love those mixtapes from Lex. Definitely A tier for me. The Gorilla Voltage EP, dope, but I don't revisit it that much, so I'll put it C tier. It doesn't mean I don't like it. It just doesn't mean I go back to it. But I do like it. The Attack of the Ninjas album. Whew, this got to be A tier. I bumped the shit out of this album when it first came out. So where do I put it in A tier, though? I don't think it's better than Year of the Sword, but I'll put it right next to it. Another compilation of M&E artists that were on the label at that time, and it's a fucking dope song. Red has he has the best verse on there. I can't remember the name of the song, but Red absolutely fucking kills. One of his verses has the best verse on the entire album. Love that Attack of the Ninjas album. Super dope. Gibby Stites, Welcome to Illville. Never heard. Turncoat Dirty. Crypto Dirt. Never heard. So there you go. There is the tier list for Magic Ninja albums. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Again, a link for this tier list is in the description as well. I'm Rome Bone. And until next time, we out. Peace.